Alrighty, it is Wednesday, day 3 of this little audio, personal, thinking out loud type thing. I guess this is more or less the form of meditation that most people call crazy talking, or just talking yourself out loud. It is the 29th, Wednesday, January 2025. Let's see, daily reflection. Woke up around 9ish, 10ish. Had breakfast, started on a few more of my commissions. Yesterday night, I finished one 6-panel one. Then I finished a single piece one, I think, which was the second single piece that I had out of the 10. And then continuing on with the 30-panel one I mentioned yesterday, ending one. I'm on panel 2 right now, just sketching out the character in it. Let's see, after that, helped make some bondigas. It's this soup with like beef meatballs. It's pretty delicious. You usually pair it up with it's like a stew. Like you have potatoes, carrots. We usually put zucchini in it, but we didn't have any, or rather we couldn't find any when we went grocery shopping. So we just used some celery, which is left over from my chicken noodle soup thing. So I guess you could look at the sky right now. Look how beautiful it is today. Nice and clear. A little chilly, but it feels good for the most part, which is why I don't have my sweater on. Just my long sleeve sweatpants, usual attire, to be comfortable. What else today? So yeah, we just made the bondigas with carrots, potatoes, and then celery. So some people put rice in it. I know my grandma does, but it was a thing we stopped a while ago, mostly just because it's already salty as is. It's not overly powerful or flavorful, but it's like, just enough flavor so you can at least enjoy the broth. You don't have to dump it down the drain, because some people, like me, usually I often don't drink the broth of soup because I'm like, nah, I'm just eating the contents, the pasta, the vegetables, whatever's in the soup, not the broth itself. I'm okay. Unless it's like tomato soup, then, I usually pair that up with grilled cheese. Can't go wrong with tomato soup and grilled cheese. It's a pretty good combination. I mean, I can't really think of too many food combinations that are kind of unique when you put them together. So, like sweet and spicy, that would be for something like Korean food or Chinese food, like teriyaki chicken, where it's sweet and a little bit of spice, or like sriracha. So that kind of stuff is cool. It kind of reminds me of those limited time foods that they have, every food location, fast food usually does it. I remember the one during, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, McDonald's was doing this whole K-pop collaboration. So you would get, it was 2 sauces. One of them was sweet, and I think it was Cajun, something like that, Cajun sauce. And then another one was sweet and spicy, but it was more sweet than anything. It was barbecue. I guess you could say it is diet barbecue, because barbecue itself is kind of tangy, but mostly sweet. So, but I remember trying that. It was okay. I mean, I'm usually not one to dip my chicken nuggets in dipping sauces for the most part. I usually just have them on their own. Some may say, well, dry ass food, and I say, well, sometimes the food is best when it's on its own, or wait, you don't have access to sauce. I don't know. I mean, I often think about that when I watch cooking from various people, or I don't know, Gordon Ramsay, where it's if you just dilute the thing in sauce, that's more calories than the dish itself, then you kind of suck at cooking, or you kind of ruin the dish. So, or it's those Instagram videos, or before TikTok shut down, weeks ago, where they'd have all these outrageous foods, and it's no realistic person is going to do this. Only people that are recording it for clicks and views are actually eating it, or they just throw it up in the trash after the video is done filming, because no one's gonna eat this little kebab of donuts that's been deep fried and covered with sprinkles and cream, That's pretty much 1,000 calories just in that one little dessert, quote unquote. If anything, it's an abomination. It baffles me. Like, if you could actually eat that and stomach it, then goddamn, you've got an iron stomach. Or you're just really young and your body hasn't developed, the things that usually older people tend to develop as their taste buds and their body kind of falls apart. So, back to the topic of like seasonal foods or foods tried. I remember the Grimace shake thing. I know people always called it a meme. So, but it was alright. It was kind of berry. It was like vanilla mixed with like some berries in it and strawberry. It was alright. Got a large version with some nuggets. So, it was pretty good. It was supposed to be just a 10-piece with fries, and then essentially, I guess the person that was like assembling it didn't know that they put in an extra 10, so it was like a 20-piece. So I got the 10 extra. So, I mean, lucky for me at least. What else? Seasonal foods. Hasn't really been that many seasonal foods I've had, at least off the top of my head. I can't really think of other seasonal foods or like temporary. Actually, no. Knott's Berry Farm, which is a little amusement park in California. They have this like seasonal thing, Knott's Berry Farm, during like March, April, May. Basically, where they have like vendors, or they change up some of their restaurants to have like boysenberry themed items, or like have it as a sauce like on a side. I think it was during the pandemic, like 2021, 2022. No, it was 2021, because 2022, that was when, like, migrated out. Well, quote unquote migrated, just moved. Migrated implies like a bird or something. Or like temporary. Las Vegas is way better than California. But back to the Knott's Berry Farm thing, basically they had this offer where you can get like 4 free food passes to any of the restaurants in Knott's Berry Farm and just try out any food item you want, and you don't have to pay extra for it. You would just, as self-explanatory as it is. So, I think there was only one dish that I didn't like out of the few that I tried. It was this boysenberry basil lemonade. And I think the main part was just the basil, because it was not fucking good. Mostly just because it wasn't sweet. And I think the basil kind of just made it strong and like, not sour. It's kind of made it flavorless. Like, I think something like mineral water or like a Heineken, but minus the carbonation. It was just bad. Even taking the basil out and trying to get like some sugar packets from a nearby bakery, it didn't really help it. So I ended up just tossing it and then getting a spray. Had to pay a little extra for that, but not extra, it was like $2. So, but everything else I tried at Knott's Berry Farm, it was just delicious. There's these boysenberry mixed with ketchup, tater tots. There was this one chicken sandwich that had boysenberry sauce, like kind of like mayonnaise, but like sweeter. It was kind of good. It was delish. And then the second to last food pass that I spent it on was this like boysenberry like vanilla ice cream sundae. It was pretty good. And then I remember I did waste the first food pass, not on the tater tots, because I shared that with my sister, but the first one I just spent it on a normal size pizza, because they had options for like people that weren't interested in the boysenberry stuff. They had like the plain food, so I had that instead, like just regular pizza. It was alright. I know my family had like this small little steak that has like a boysenberry sauce on it with like macaroni and I think like cauliflower, and they said it was good. Like for the most part, like the berry festival whole thing, it was just boysenberry, sweet, semi-sour but not really sour type of, theming, branding with all your food items. Wasn't a bad idea, honestly. It's like it's funny because now that I kind of think about it, the chicken sandwich that I had, it kind of looked like that pink sauce thing, that whole scandal from that one girl who didn't know what, the Food and Drug Administration was. She was like, I'm not paired with like medicinal like people or whatever. I know the whole thing. But that mayonnaise actually kind of looked like that pink sauce now I think about it. So, I don't know. I don't think that thing is ever coming back. Especially with all those lawsuits. So, but aside from that though, the Knott's Berry Farm thing was pretty memorable. I still look back on it. So, hopefully one day I can go do that again. It was cool. And the food was not that bad. And I don't think the food for free food passes was overly expensive. I think it was fairly priced for what you get. So, well, I don't think it included. Well, I think it did include general admission. I know the rides were on, but I know a lot of the attractions were like closed, especially because that was during the pandemic. So I know a lot of things were like social distancing or we're working on, decreasing queues and all that. So I don't blame them. I know like amusement parks, like when everybody's so bunched together, diseases spread or people coughing or sneezing in the air can get picked up pretty easily. I don't blame them. But that's neither here nor there. 2025, and for the most part, COVID is kind of just an afterthought. Yeah, an afterthought as much as it affects people, and it's just one of the regular diseases or illnesses that we contract every now and then. Still just as deadly and serious though, but not as much as it was in 2020. And that is kind of everything. This marks the end of my daily walk and self-reflection and thinking. So, may it be a good day tomorrow and a good rest of the night. Toodles.